Stop. Everything you have been told about fat loss is making you fatter. I know that sounds backward, and a few minutes from now, you are going to understand exactly why and what to do instead. You are one adjustment away from melting stubborn body fat without lifting a heavy weight, without brutal cardio, and without starving yourself. There is a hormone your body already produces naturally, rhythmically, every single night that is specifically designed to open your fat cells and flush stored energy directly into your bloodstream for fuel. It is called Human Growth Hormone. And today, I'm going to give you 3 things: the science behind why it works and why almost nobody is using it correctly, the specific 90-minute biological window you are currently missing every single night and exactly how to protect it, and a complete daily rhythm, no gym required, that stacks these signals so your body burns fat in the background while you live your life. Stay with me, because what I'm about to show you in the next 15 minutes is going to fundamentally change how you see your own biology. But before we go there, I need to tell you something about who we are here. At VitaWave, we operate from a belief that most wellness content ignores. Health is not a destination. It's a rhythm you learn to ride. We don't just treat symptoms. We decode your biological waves to turn back the clack from the inside out. That is not a tagline. That is a methodology. And today, you are going to feel it working. The people who transform their bodies permanently are not the ones who work the hardest. They are the ones who finally understand how the system works. That is what today is about. The invisible metabolic switch. Let me ask you something honest. Have you ever done everything right? The workouts, the calorie tracking, the discipline, and still watched the scale barely move, or worse, watched it creep back up the moment you took a breath? You are not broken, and you are not lazy. You have been given a framework for fat loss that is fundamentally working against your endocrine system. Here's what the biology actually shows. Chronic, high-intensity exercise, sustained for weeks and months, elevates cortisol, your stress hormone. And elevated cortisol does 2 things that sabotage everything you are working for. It increases insulin resistance, making your body hold on to fat rather than burn it, and it directly suppresses the release of human growth hormone. A 2025 meta-analysis in the Journal of Endocrinology reviewed 40 studies and found that individuals in a caloric deficit greater than 30% showed a measurable decline in pulsatile HGH release. The very strategy most people use to lose fat is quietly shutting off the biological switch designed to burn it. Let that sit for a moment, because that is not a small detail. That is the reason. Human growth hormone is your body's primary fat mobilization signal. When it's in your bloodstream, your fat cells, specifically visceral fat around your organs, receive one direct chemical instruction: release stored fatty acids into circulation to be burned for energy. No treadmill required, no calorie restriction required, just the right hormonal environment. Now, that nocturnal window I mentioned, that 90 minutes where this hormone surges harder than at any other time in the day, I am going to show you exactly when it happens and what you are almost certainly doing to block it every single night. The circadian growth spike. This is the part most people have never heard, and once you understand it, you will never make this mistake again. Roughly 60 to 90 minutes after you fall into deep sleep, into the stage called slow wave sleep, your pituitary gland initiates the single largest HGH pulse of the entire 24-hour cycle. We are talking about a surge that, under the right conditions, accounts for up to 70% of your total daily growth hormone output, all while you're lying completely still. This is not a minor biological footnote. This is the most powerful fat-burning window your body has, and most people walk into it every night with the biological equivalent of a padlock already in place. That padlock is called insulin.
Here's the mechanism, and this is the key you need to carry with you. HGH and insulin are inversely related. They cannot operate at the same time. When insulin is elevated, HGH cannot be released. One turns the other off. So, when you eat a carbohydrate-rich meal 2 hours before bed, your insulin levels remain elevated past midnight. Your pituitary gland attempts that critical pulse, hits elevated insulin, and the signal collapses. You sleep 8 hours, you wake up, and your body never entered the fat-burning state you were counting on. Every night you have been doing this, and you didn't know it. That ends today. Here are the 3 steps to protect that window. Simple, proven. Step 1, stop eating at least 3 hours before sleep. This gives insulin the window it needs to normalize before your growth hormone pulse fires. Step 2, if you need something in the evening gap, choose foods that do not provoke insulin. I'll give you the exact list in a moment, and some of these will genuinely surprise you. Step 3, lower your room temperature to between 65 and 68 degrees Fahrenheit, around 18 to 20 Celsius. Your core body temperature must drop 1 to 2 degrees to initiate deep sleep. The faster that drop happens, the sooner you enter the slow wave stage, and the sooner that HGH pulse fires. Research from the National Sleep Foundation shows that people sleeping in rooms cooler than 67 degrees Fahrenheit enter deep sleep significantly faster, which means an earlier, stronger hormonal surge, more fat mobilization before you even open your eyes. And here's where it gets even more interesting, because there's a daytime technique, one I call the micro-fast method, that creates the exact same hormonal shift as an hour of hard exercise without doing any exercise at all. The pulsatile fasting method. Most people have tried intermittent fasting. Most people have also eventually quit it, white-knuckling through 16-hour windows, wondering whether it was actually working. What I'm describing is not that. When you eat, insulin rises to process incoming fuel. But in the window between meals, roughly 3 to 5 hours, insulin normalizes, blood glucose stabilizes, and a counter-regulatory response begins. Growth hormone starts to pulse, glucagon activates, your body briefly and measurably shifts towards accessing stored fat. The micro-fast method is simply designing your meal timing to maximize those intermeal windows rather than extending one brutal fast. Practically 2 to 3 meals a day with clean 4 to 5 hour gaps between them and nothing in between that provokes insulin. That last part is where people unknowingly destroy the entire process. They are doing beautifully. Meal 1 at 8 a.m., planning meal 2 at 1 p.m., and at 10:30 they reach for a flavored coffee drink, a protein bar, or a handful of crackers, and without realizing it, they've spiked insulin, closed the fat-burning window completely, and reset the clock to 0.
3 specific options that maintain the gap without disrupting the process. Black coffee. The methylxanthines, caffeine, and theobromine directly stimulate adrenaline release, which activates hormone-sensitive lipase, the enzyme that liberates fatty acids from stored fat cells. 0 insulin response. Plain green tea high in EGCG. Multiple published studies confirm that EGCG enhances norepinephrine signaling, which drives fat oxidation during the intermeal window. Sparkling water with a squeeze of lemon. 0 insulin response. The mild citric acid environment supports the metabolic transition between meals. Now, your body needs raw material to build HGH in the first place. And there are specific foods, ones most people already have in their kitchen, that function as the direct chemical precursors to natural hormone release. Let us talk about those now. Precision nutrient loading. HGH is a peptide hormone. Peptide hormones are built from amino acids, and the quality of your nutritional inputs directly determines how much raw material your pituitary gland has to work with. 3 amino acid combinations with the strongest clinical evidence. L-arginine with L-ornithine. Taken together, these have been shown in multiple trials to stimulate pituitary growth hormone release, especially in a low insulin state. Food sources: pumpkin seeds, turkey, chicken, lentils. L-glutamine. Research shows even small doses can trigger measurable GH pulses, found in grass-fed beef, wild-caught fish, eggs, and raw spinach. Glycine. This amino acid plays a direct role in slow-wave sleep quality. And as you now know, slow-wave sleep quality is the gatekeeper to your largest nightly HGH pulse. Sources: bone broth, collagen-rich cuts of meat, and shrimp. Here's how it stacks into your final meal of the day, the one eaten at least 3 hours before sleep. A palm-sized portion of glycine and glutamine-rich protein, a generous serving of non-starchy vegetables, a small amount of healthy fat, no grains, no starchy carbohydrates, no sugar. 1 intentional meal, 3 simultaneous effects. It provides the amino acid substrate for overnight HGH synthesis, it keeps insulin low heading into sleep, and the glycine directly supports the deep sleep stage where the hormonal surge fires. But here's the question I get asked every time. How do you know if this is actually working for you? How do you maintain this without burning out or obsessing over every meal? That is exactly what the final piece answers: sustainable hormonal maintenance. I want to be completely direct with you right now. Everything in this video works. The pre-sleep protocol, the microfast method, the amino acid timing. These are not tricks. They are your biology, used the way your body was designed to use it. But here's what separates the people who transform permanently from the ones who get results for 2 weeks and slowly drift back. The people who sustain it stop thinking about this as a protocol and start understanding it as a rhythm. Your endocrine system does not respond well to being shocked and abandoned. It responds to consistent signals that repeat night after night, meal after meal, until those signals become the environment it expects. When that happens, fat loss is not something you're forcing. It's something your biology is running in the background while you live your life. Here is your complete daily rhythm: simple, clean, and sustainable. Morning. Delay your first meal to allow 12 to 14 hours from your last meal the night before. Black coffee or green tea in the gap. Daytime. 2 to 3 meals. Clean 4 to 5 hour gaps. Nothing in between. Evening. Final meal at least 3 hours before sleep. High protein, low insulin load. Prioritize glycine-rich foods. Before sleep. Cool your room. No bright screens for 30 minutes. Let your body temperature drop naturally and let that HGH pulse fire the way it was always designed to. Repeat. That's the rhythm. No gym, no extreme restriction, no chasing a result that disappears the moment you ease off. This is what metabolic flexibility actually feels like from the inside. Not a grind you survive, a rhythm you inhabit. Your body has never been your enemy. It's been waiting for the right signals, signals you now know how to give it. I want to know something. Which one of these are you going to start tonight? The pre-sleep protocol, the microfast method, or the amino acid timing? Drop it in the comments right now. That single commitment written down makes you 3 times more likely to follow through on it. And if something clicked for you today that's never clicked before, hit subscribe, because every week on VitaWave, this is exactly what we do. We decode your biology so it works for you, not against you. In the next video, we're going to go somewhere that surprises most people: the connection between your morning light exposure and your afternoon fat-burning window. There's a 20-minute window right after waking, completely free, requiring nothing but sunlight, that sets the hormonal tone for the entire day. Most people miss it completely. That video is already waiting for you. At VitaWave, we don't chase health, we learn to ride it.